Hey guys, greetings. We've got a kitten here to say hello.
Alicia has some incredible foster babies over there. So she's going to show them to you while I go grab my cup of coffee real quick. Thanks
Yes,
for
get your
being here,
coffee,
everybody.
guys. Get your favorite drink. I've got a cute little kitty that is finally cleared to have free play in our home. They have been more or less quarantined for the last few weeks since they've been with us on different medicines to help get them healthy. And they are now free to roam about our home. So we're at a fun place in the journey of fostering. So, little foster kitten Gina says hello to everybody. And she's got a whole lot to say. She's got a lot of attitude. So, if you hear her being sassy in the background or her brother, I apologize, but they're now free to play. And I think her brother's looking for her. So, they're out here having fun, living their life rent free in our home, running around. Hopefully, they don't get into too much trouble while we're on camera. But if they do, apologies. But some of my kids have four legs, so they just roam around. Vanessa will be right back in just a minute. She's grabbing her coffee. And then we'll get into our little live Saturday morning. So, how is everybody doing? I know it's been quite a week for a lot of people. I've had a lot of wild stuff happening. And it's also like October, and yesterday was Friday the 13th. So, I mean, I don't know if anybody believes in that or doesn't or has superstitions. It's whatever. My car decided to not start when I was trying to leave for work. So that was real fun because the battery was completely dead. So it took me like 3 hours to get home instead of like 30 minutes. So it's been quite a week, but we're here and we're hanging. We got our four-legged family members just cruising about. So if you hear or see any noises, apologies, but we are mamas and foster mamas, and so it's part of our little zoo. It's just a little part of our life. So if they pop up, I have a blanket ready for them, but it's probably close to their nap time, although they don't want to admit it because baby cats and baby dogs are very similar to little kids.
Decided to say hi. Hold on. Okay. He decided to jump on my lap.
I'm going to make an asterisk. I said we have four-legged kids, and we also have three-legged ones because Elvis has one of his legs amputated. So
Correct.
we have two-legged. I have two-legged because kids, four-legged because of the animals, and she's got a three-legged. So we got little fur babies and human babies for me.
Yes, you are a mommy of all kinds, huh?
All kinds. I'm
and
all there.
your child just had a birthday, so that's
Yes.
exciting.
Yeah, we had a lot of birthdays. It's been busy. It's like fall comes and it's just like boom, 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 boom. There's like Christmas, New Year's, happy holiday, happy like whatever.
I know. I went
So it's
into
so
work
busy.
this week, and there was those lovely Halloween decorations everywhere because I love Halloween. Obviously, you could probably tell.
I mean, it's Halloween all the time.
But you just remember how it just goes into holiday season, just decoration after decoration.
Yes.
And it's Easter all of a
Busy.
sudden, and we're like, what happened here?
Whoa, right. And I got this cute little guy in. This is one of our candles from our merch store, the Don't Drop the Body, which is kind of perfect for right now, jokers and degraders. Don't drop the body, and y'all don't drop the body. We know it's been a week. So for some of us, it's been a wild week.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Thank you guys all for being here too. I see quite a few people in the chat. Liz, Free Xenu Project, Lou, Tim, Gregory. Everybody has been helping too, watching the Elvis cam. So that's been fun. It's been nice to leave a live Elvis cam.
He gets the respect he deserves now.
He really he's always been a star. It's just that now he has a foster mommy who sets up a camera for him and allows the general public to
see his cuteness.
Yeah, he's just ridiculous, and he's so strong and resilient for everything he's been through that.
Yeah.
Hi, baby. He just came up right now. Hi, baby.
It's so fun.
How was your week, E?
It was busy. A lot happening. Yeah. But I mean, I'm happy it's Saturday. I'm happy we made it through the week, And then I'm happy because the foster kittens are healthy enough to run free in the house. They've been so they came in not liking people.
Yeah.
especially the little one that I showed, the little girl. She's like got the little tortitude and she didn't like people and she was scared of them and would hide like behind their litter box in the cage. All the normal stuff.
Yeah.
And it was really funny because the person who found them is a really sweet person who helps out at the shelter. And she was like, "Are you taking those? Because they're so scared." And she's like, "I'm sorry, they're kind of mean." And I was like, "It's fine. I like the mean ones. Like I vibe with the mean ones. It's cool." And so it's really cute because in the last couple of weeks they've come so far, just in especially in health because when you get puppies, kittens, the young ones in, it's like you gotta do all the meds, right? You gotta do the worming, you gotta do their vaccines if they're healthy enough and old enough. And these guys also had oral antifungal medicine. So it's 7 days on, a week off, and then 7 days. So they just did their second set of that. So they're not really the most excited. I mean, they weren't really to see me because I was poking them and prodding them and putting stuff in their mouth.
And people, we do a lot of like med work is a lot. So when I wake up in the morning, I'm right
You have
now
to do
this
down the
morning
list.
making quite a few bowls of food because I'm babysitting another pair of dogs. And then there's different medications that go in each one. And then there's
Yeah.
usually when we get the pets off the street, dogs and cats, they're going to have something, some kind of infection or worms or something. And we're
Yeah.
always treating them.
Yeah. We
So
always
it's
just
not always,
assume they
yeah,
have
it's not
something.
always fun, right? When they
No.
get to us, they don't think
No.
like, oh,
They
these
don't like
people are
us.
so nice.
No.
No, this woman's trying to put eardrops in my bleeding ear
Yeah.
or something.
Like
you
it just
know?
hurts, but just let it hurt. Yeah. Like
Hi, Serge.
Look
My
at-
love.
I love this. Mean ones are the best, to be honest. I agree. I like the mean ones.
That's E's whole thing.
That's
She
my
loves
vibe.
the too feral for anyone is her whole favorite, huh?
I mean, you don't get a feral mama cat named after you for nothing. One of the ACOs named a feral mama cat after me. But then I took her and fostered her and she wasn't feral, so it was great.
Yeah.
I was like, is this the feral cat?
Yeah.
But it's like with everything, right? People and animals included can be just very scared and overwhelmed in new surroundings, and shelters are scary and loud. But I used to love hanging out. I haven't been for a while, like volunteering there physically, but I used to like live at the animal shelter. It's kind of sick. But I loved it because I would see all the cuties come in. I would get to, interact with them and see their personalities grow. And the ones that like people maybe wouldn't take, like you get like the Elvis, right? Some people can't handle that. And that's okay because those people can take like an easier one to start with. And that still helps. So, we're always over here promoting, like, if you guys like animals, go check out your local rescues, fosters, any organizations, and see if you want to volunteer, donate, foster, adopt. I love that you feed feral cats. I do. I love that. I wish I lived in a neighborhood that the neighbors, like the other people, were okay with that or were happier with that. So, they're not the greatest. But I still put out food for the possums and everything. Oops. Oh well. They absolutely love stuff. Oh, you're muted, V.
I said,
Oh, there you go.
there's sorry, Alexi was barking. I was trying to spare everybody's ears. There are different wildlife laws everywhere you live, and I have what I consider a pet peacock, but he's not technically mine. He just comes to visit, and I'm not allowed to feed him, so that's hard because we get in trouble. But he still comes for the love.
He said, "I'll still come for some pets, if not for the food, but I'll get some pets and some love."
He doesn't let me pet him, but he guards my door. He's my guard peacock.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
It really is. And I'll see the ring cam go off, and I'll be like, "Oh, it's just Peter. It's Peter the peacock." We became very close during the pandemic, so
yeah, right.
And he'll just sit in front of the door and just be there chilling.
Yeah. You're like, you just stay there, buddy.
Sometimes he brings a lady friend, and sometimes he brings her little babies that they made because it's a good spot to get some strawberries in my garden.
So he brings his whole family. That's really cute. During the pandemic, I used to go and feed at a tourist attraction place that was shut down because during quarantine, and all the cats were still out, all the ferals were still there. And since the places and restaurants that used to put out food or random people walking through, they used to feed them, that was all shut down. So I would go once a week, and it was so fun. Me and my husband went, and I was like, "Will you come with me to feed the cats on the weekends?"
Yeah.
So we went every weekend, and I loved it. It was like the most fun, the most ridiculous. But
I
yeah,
wanted to
everybody needs to eat.
show my little friend for some of our viewers in here who actually have been checking out the cam. So let me try to do this without an actual
Incident.
incident. And E, do you like this layout or do you like the one of closer to our faces better?
Whatever you want to do. I
Okay,
don't really
I'll
care.
do this Elvis one like this.
I was saying this might be easier for Raina.
Hi, baby.
Good morning, sunshine.
You want my sunshine? Only sunshine.
Do you know what's funny, Vanessa? Like, think about this. We're over here dealing with the nicest animals that the world has to offer. Just like, yeah, sure, no biggie.
Nicest?
Nicest.
Okay.
The nicest, right?
Yeah, he was smiling, Poe.
And does Osa think that they're gonna scare us with their bullshit when we're like getting scratched up and like,
I don't
come
know.
on.
I don't think they remember what we've been through.
They have no clue, but it's okay because we're just sitting there smiling like, okay, that's cool. Nice try to infiltrate or to say this or to do that.
It's like I've been
It's
just trying to
wild.
describe it. They just don't get it. They just don't get
It's
the
very
world.
tone deaf.
Like,
No,
yeah.
they're stuck. They're stuck in a very
it's tone deaf.
strange like Twilight Zone era.
They can
time.
hire all the companies they want to do marketing,
It doesn't help.
PR, black PR operations, whatever they want, and they're still not getting it. So
Yeah. So we'll just sit
keep
there
wasting your money, I guess, but you
I
could
was
give
gonna
it to like
say.
some homeless animals. That would be cool. Maybe
That would
like
be
some
really-
people on the street who need help, or maybe some people who would like to go into recovery for addictions. Maybe that would be cool, but keep wasting it on us.
Wouldn't that be really cool? That'd be great. Do you know, speaking of helping people in the streets, so V, me and you are from LA area, Scientology world. I finally am at a place 3 years ago, we went through and made like our family photo albums, like digitalized some of them, or made a little
Yeah.
document so it's easier to see. And I haven't been able to look at them for 3 years. So it's taken me 3 years to actually be able to be mentally stable enough to look at them. That's really sad, but
No,
part of the
it's not.
course,
I mean,
it's like
it's sad, but it's totally understandable. I listened to a voicemail this week from a loved one that
Mhm.
had disconnected from me, and I hadn't been okay to listen to it until just this week.
Yeah, it's
So-
hard. It takes time. You have to be at a place that you're able to hear it, look at it, whatever it is, absorb it.
Yeah, and not just shove it down. I mean,
Yeah.
that's
Or
what
be
happens.
They're very sad. Yeah, because it can be very extreme emotions. So I don't know if you remember doing this, and I don't know if you did do this because you did the surf club thing, which was cool, and I've never heard that before.
My
That's
dad was the founder.
so cool. That's so cool. Do you remember doing the Way to Happiness in LA, like in LA, like the inner city? I found so many pictures where we're like
Well,
kids
you're
are
saying,
walking
what
down
do you
the
mean the Way to
street.
Happiness? There was the foundation, which I was at quite frequently in Glendale, but then there was my dad also did the Dianetics run team, and then they had Way to
Oh.
Happiness run.
Like a home
There's
improvement
all
or
these
a
Was
community
it
improvement.
like was
It was
it
like a
a
community-
day sponsored by the Way to Happiness, or was
I
it
don't-
like a?
I'll send you pictures later, but it's literally
Yeah.
like a bunch of kids and parents, adults that are walking down the streets of LA. And I remember planting trees. I vividly remember that as a kid, but now I have the proof of it. It is so wild. So we were
How
like
fun.
helping our community, and they're like holding up signs. It's like no drugs, no violence.
Yeah.
And I want to say I think the pictures were in 92. So this was probably honestly right before the riots happened, because I don't remember doing it after the riots happened. And I think for me, I know for sure our family moved about a year later in 93 from like in the city LA. Like we were in, if anybody's from the LA area, if you guys know where the El Torino is, like Pico, Union, like those kind of like,
That's where you were handing out the Way to
I
Happiness
think
books?
so. Like, I'm
That's
guessing.
embarrassing as hell.
We lived on the street we lived on was Grandview Street. So I don't know, but we were like right behind the El Torino. And that place is bomb. If you guys are into really good legit Mexican food, check it out. It is the best.
El
ever.
Torito.
Yes, it's
Right?
so good. Is it El Torito or El
they've been-
Torino? I can't
El
remember
Torito
which.
is the one near me. They've been closing them around LA though, and it's really sad because they're
Oh.
so good.
Oh no! Yeah, I grew up eating those burritos. They
do
seemed a
make
lot bigger.
Yeah, they make like salsa for the grocery store and stuff now. They have the El
Oh,
Torito
wow.
version. But yeah, it's some of those tastes of things. I was just talking with I think he's here in the chat about the taste of the old spaghetti factory.
I remember that.
And
Do they still exist?
they do, and I will
Okay.
drive about 50 miles or 50 minutes about once every 2 months when I need that taste because it's my comfort food and that's like my coping mechanism sometimes.
Mhm.
That's where me and my mom used to go, and that's where me and Danny Mustard and his mom, Sue, we would go all the time. And
Aw.
it's right there by Cece, right? And everyone who had gone in that day and age, I think I was even talking about it with Tori or Spanky or somebody who was like, oh my gosh, the old spaghetti factory, something about those tastes of our childhood. And then they're
Yeah.
just leaving us. And I'm really sad about that.
Yeah.
I drive
Like,
very far to get it.
it's like, I need that. Yeah, I haven't had that in a long time. I'm trying to think. There's so many restaurants that are like just slowly closing down, and I'm sad. Sizzler was one. If you were
Yeah.
fancy, went to the Sizzler buffet.
Red Lobster.
The Red Lobster. Oh,
Remember the Red Lobster on Hollywood?
oh, Vanessa, you got some jokes this
I
morning.
do. I do. I do.
I love it. I love the subtle little jokes that we have to make to keep ourselves going and remind
Gotta say
ourselves
something.
who we are and where
You know,
we came from.
Beyonce talks a lot about, Red Lobster. When me right, I'd take his to Red
To
Lobster.
Red Lobster.
That's
So,
all. So like we know.
So we
Okay.
know. We know
How to do
about
that.
guys.
Thank you. I got to go last night to something incredible, and it was at the Hollywood Bowl. Death Cab for Cutie played Translanticism in its entirety, and the Postal Service played Give Up in its entirety. And the Postal Service does not play. It is not a band that is a band. It was a one-off from Death Cab singer, and is one of my favorite albums of all time, and was very, very important to us as young Scientologists in the scene in LA when it came out. We were driving to CC listening to these albums and then listening to them on the way home from CC, and then trying to make sense of maybe some emotions that we had that nobody around us understood. And the whole album, Give Up by the Postal Service, like, there's some things that I didn't know how to express, when we were in Scientology, but we knew
Absolutely.
that this place was a prison and these people weren't your friends. And those lines and the things that would be able to get my soul going, like, I'm just so grateful for that. So that show last night, oh my God, it was
Life-changing.
incredible. And like, they were just on, like sometimes you see your favorites and you're like, oh, I wish it was. No, it was like going to church. And I had just seen Jimmy Eat World last month. That's my other church. So sometimes like just watching a man rock out on stage and really creating something that can make all of these people so happy and filled with joy and just want to dance for a moment is so beautiful, and be humble about it and just like, this is what I do, and thank you guys for being here. So
yeah, it's a nice healthy little escapism, right? You
it
can like
is.
let go of everything
Music
going on.
has
and-
always been that for me, like a way, especially in a
Absolutely.
group or in a concert setting. It's more collaborative, like you're with people feeling the
It's
music.
like the community too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's probably similar to what we miss from like a church choir or something.
I was gonna say it's kind of like,
Yeah.
it kind of fills that in a more healthy way and a less tyrant.
Yeah,
Enforce rules and thoughts and
but it's just so, I don't know, growing up in LA, it's so weird because so many people
It's
call
so
it
unique.
a short stop or a place they're coming to be a tourist. Or so when we're driving into these streets, I drove by where I was arrested at 18 for driving under the influence because I was trying to cope with my emotions through alcohol, as I think a lot of us were. But I also wanted to be responsible and make sure everybody got home safe. So I drank less than everybody else. But I had anything in my system. So I was really in trouble. Like I had to go to jail and stuff. But I'm driving down the street last night going to this show at the Hollywood Bowl and just driving by right where I got arrested on Hollywood Boulevard. Like, It's just kind of funny that our childhood memories are in
Yeah,
a place that so many people have memories of that have nothing to do with childhood or
exactly.
development or your friends or feeling like it's your town. Like there's not many people from here, and everywhere I go they say, "You're not from around here, are you?" Like it's like an ongoing thing. I'm like, I don't know if I'm really from anywhere
You're
other
like,
than
no,
like
I'm just an alien.
some
I'm
other
just foreign
place.
everywhere. I don't know. I'm
My
from
parents
another
think we're not
planet.
from here
We're
either.
not
What about you?
exactly.
So,
Yeah, yeah. We're not from here. We're
where
just
are
stuck.
we
We're
from?
stuck on this
Because it's
prison planet.
Hollywood, unfortunately.
But I think it's really good though, because when I went back and
Yeah.
visited after not being there for like 19, 20 years, I was like, I still love it. I still freaking love it. The people, the just like the just walking on the street or going in a restaurant and like people just like having just random conversations that like you're just like, yeah, I get you. I like these are still my
Yeah.
people. I love it. Like it's just still such a great place. And it's still so I love the diversity in it
Yeah.
because we did grow up with a lot of diversity, and I think that's absolutely really important. And I think it's really helped shape us and help us
Yeah.
understand other people,
Yeah.
which is a good thing because Scientology itself doesn't necessarily give you that, right? And you know, if all you're hearing from adults is like outside world is bad, they're degraded, they're DBs, they're just blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
You know, it's harder for us to understand the world. And I can understand that being so scary when people do exit Scientology and then think the real world is so scary. So I'm forever grateful that I have so many normal out of Scientology friends and experiences and went to public school because I wasn't scared and that as some people are because
Well,
that
but
is
also
very
you kind of,
overwhelming.
I mean, didn't you not really even want to talk about that part of your life until we had
No,
reconnected? And then you were like, more, okay, let's
I
deal with
I
it. Like you had started watching Aftermath with your husband and
oh
process.
yeah, I watched the whole thing. Like I
Yeah.
watched all of that and I it's funny because I when I was a kid growing up, I did not want to ever talk about it. And then I looked at some stuff before I had kids because I was like, I don't want to uh, unconsciously do something that I'm not wanting to do, you know, because sometimes you just do because that's what you saw, and that's how cycles that
Totally.
keep repeating. Even if you have the best intentions, you know, there's just certain
Intentions are not
ideologies.
enough, unfortunately, these
Yeah,
days.
no, right? That's like
Yeah.
just part of it, and it's yeah, I didn't talk about it super publicly. I mean, no one was ever thinking I liked it. I will say that I rebelled against it. I didn't even, and that's probably why I didn't really hang out with very many Scientologist kids when I was growing up because I did not want to be part of that world. I really, really fought against it and did not want it. Though I did have a handful of good friends that I grew up with that I was like, they're Scientologists, but they're not like super into it, right?
Yeah.
Like their parents were like, you know, right? Because you even said to me, you were never really a Scientologist kid. Like you weren't into it. I
Well,
was
like you
never
said, you
writing
didn't even
people
do
up
audit.
and
You didn't get auditing, right? No.
no, I was
But
never.
your
I was
life
never.
was really the thing that I wanted to, why I thought you might want to like be vocal about it in my thought was that your life has been so dramatically altered by this thing
Yeah,
that has so many layers and so many tentacles to it that it's completely understandable. You wouldn't even understand all of the ways that they hurt a child who like grew up in it almost, and all
yeah,
of the technical stuff. I mean, how is
yeah.
anybody supposed to,
It is a
they have
lot.
people in there all day every day, so that's why people like Lewis who come out who know that tech are
Yeah.
absolutely invaluable. But I found it fascinating that your life was so deeply
Yeah.
affected. You lost your mom
Hmm.
to, who knows, we don't know, but we know that our moms are not going to the doctor every day or like a month or
Hmm.
yearly, like maybe they
Yeah.
would have or something. But
Yeah.
your life was, you were sent to Mojave. I
Yeah.
mean, you
That was a
had a
wild
lot
time.
of, yeah, you had a lot of developmental milestones, and then you were given a child to care for that was not your own as a
Yeah.
job when you should have been
Yeah.
in school,
Yeah.
right? And then you got married and you were able to have a wonderful life for
Mhm.
yourself, but that was because you distanced yourself from all of it, right?
Yeah.
And not because you
Yeah.
tried to make it make sense. You were like, this is whack.
No,
I'm out
it
of
doesn't
here.
yeah, it doesn't make sense, and sometimes it's hard for people to let go of that because they feel like they're, like, letting their family or their family of origin down or whatever that may because I know for different people it's very different. For me, I think it shouldn't matter who it is. If it's not right, it's not right. Like, it doesn't matter the proxy and who they are. Like, it doesn't matter if they're so closely related or you really think they're a good person because when I see the pictures of, in the late 80s, early 90s of all these, like, people marching down the street, they wholeheartedly think they're doing the right thing. There's not an ounce of me that looks at them and is like, oh, they're just there to be bad people.
Yeah.
They were genuinely pretty good people that or had good intentions, right? But intentions aren't enough because unfortunately, sometimes people don't realize until they get in very deep just how unhealthy a lot of the ideologies of Scientology are. They don't want people to really be empowered, even though they do say that you should be empowered. They don't want it if it's sorry about the kids screaming. They're playing. They don't want it if it goes against them. It's a very abusive way to think, you know? It's like I would rather love somebody from afar if they have different beliefs and we can't, have a personal close, right? Like I'd rather
How have
wish you
you done
well
that?
and
How
love
have
you
you
from
done
afar.
that? I think that's something people need help with, loving from afar.
Just wishing them well, but maybe not seeing them or talking to them frequently because it's not healthy or you can't. Depends on, you know what I mean? Like there's different layers and whether it's like you are disconnected from and you actually cannot talk to someone or it's just someone that, you have a very different perspective on things and on life and what you have made for yourself, you don't want to let go.
Yeah.
Right? You don't want to slip back. And if they're not there yet, sometimes it's best to let them go with love and wish them well and just not have to hold on to the thought that you can change them or fix them. It's not our responsibility to fix others, even though us, especially like V and I, like kids born into this, we want to save people. We do, but you know what? It's not our job. It can't be on our heart and our soul and our shoulders to do that. Our
Nobody can save
parents,
anybody. You have to
yeah,
save yourselves, and we have to do that
yeah.
too. It's really hard.
It's hard, right? It is very hard, but it's also a little bit of a freeing thing when you realize it's not our responsibility to show up or to be the parent when we are not the parents. It's not our responsibility to have anybody else think or feel the way that we do. It's great when people understand, even if they don't agree. It's great when they understand or want to understand you and why you or I or we are the way we are and why we have really big walls up on certain things. Like there's certain boundaries that are just like, like it's not coming down.
Well, it's
You know,
so complex. I mean, you
it's
date
very
someone from maybe they're basic Jewish, not even a practicing, but that's their kind of
yeah,
background. You can spend
right,
quite a bit of time talking with them and learning it, and it might take you, a year to really understand how they believe. But you could
right,
probably Wikipedia and kind of get some
yeah,
origin story, and this is this belief,
hmm
and because it's a common thing that people have different
hmm
beliefs. But
yeah,
for us, it's so complex.
it
I
is.
think it
It's hard to
actually
explain.
takes an effort from another individual who just
hmm
is like, wow, I don't understand this and I want to. That's why I
Yeah,
spend a lot of time in therapy, because
yeah,
you have to explain so
outside
much
perspective too.
about Scientology to even
hmm
have somebody understand what you're saying, right? And then your hour
Absolutely.
is up.
Yep. You're
So
like,
then
and
you
then I
don't
got nothing.
really, it's just Scientology is Scientology is Scientology, and we have to keep it talking about it. And it's like, but I feel this way and I'm not able to communicate it because you don't even understand the policy. But that's not your
Yeah.
fault. That's like my parents' fault for having us in here,
Yeah, right. It's so complex. Hi,
Yeah.
Nora. Hi, my love.
Hi, Nora. Hi, Candy. Hi,
There's
Poe. Hi,
so
everybody.
many
Thanks for
cuties
being
in
here.
there. I love it. I love it. I just want to
Happy
say
Saturday
hi.
morning to you all.
Yeah, and it is nice and freeing. I know, Vanessa, when we've chatted on our own, not on camera, one thing you said was it's too much work for us to have to educate every single person, and it's exhausting. And that's why sometimes it is easier to not talk to people because if they don't care to know, then I'm not going to push it on them, right? Like I am
Totally.
not going to be an extremist. Like that's the same thing that our parents did, or that whatever your story of origin is, and whatever that looks like. and
Yeah.
it's not our job to fix them or to save them. I know that that's a very hard thing to get to that point, to not try to save them, because a lot of years were spent trying to help them and to at least plant some seeds. Maybe I won't make them
Being
change their mind.
told, I mean, where we're from, we were told too, like, this is it. Like, this is it for the planet, you
The whole
guys. Like, if
planet.
you don't do anything, this is on you. Like,
Mhm.
we come back. Are you with us? Like, you know? So then to be on the other side and we let go of all that really,
Yeah.
you know, responsibility. It's not like you just put it in a nice box somewhere. No, you're like, oh, you need
File
something?
that away in my brain.
Of course I'll answer the phone. You need something and I care about you. But then at the end of the day, I'm like, oh, wait, I have all these dogs. You and I have our
I've got all
we
these
have pretty
dogs.
funny
Sorry,
lives
guys.
since we've started this YouTube.
I know it's been hard to find enough time because there's so much to talk about. But
Yeah.
we work, we have kids and fosters and animals, and like it's just like trying to find, and we're in different time zones, so it's been so much. But it's also been so amazing because even in the last, we haven't even been on 6 months, guys. Our 6-month anniversary of YouTube will be October 26th, and that will also be our 1-year reconnection anniversary, because that's when we started talking.
Wow.
Sorry, I have a little friendly cat that wanted to jump up and say hi if you heard a
So
screech.
cute.
Gina wanted to jump up. Yeah, so, and if people ever think that their voice or their story is not important, I promise you it is. And if you don't want to share publicly, that's okay. Me and Vanessa connected or reconnected through Instagram. Don't ever think that you can't like find somebody or see somebody or re-meet somebody.
I mean, we knew each other. Like, we knew each other well,
Yeah,
and then we
when we were kids,
reconnected, you know?
yeah, because I
Right.
had moved out of state, and and then we have so much in common without even, you know what I mean, like without even being in each other's lives for like 20 years or seeing or talking to each other. And that's kind of common too in the Scientology world, because especially if you're being moved around because you're like Sea Org or whatever, you're probably moving around to different places or post or whatever, so you lose track of people. So yeah, it was really cool, and I always just want people to know that even if you don't feel like you have something that's so important or like some juicy gossip story, it doesn't need to be that. There's so many stories that I will never talk about because I don't want it to be a juicy gossip channel for me. That's not what's important. What's important is this little wild kitty getting out of my hair. Like, literally, she's in my hair. Stuck. But it is very important for people
There's things that we have
if
going
you're
on that we
in a good
choose
place.
not to talk about. Like,
Yeah.
really important things that we
Yeah.
choose not to talk about on air, because
Yeah.
there's people, like, for me personally, there's things that have happened even this week that everybody understands that when we put it on YouTube, it's also the Church of Scientology watching it.
Yeah.
So sometimes we are more interested in protecting those who we love, who are still involved, than we are gossip, I guess, or something
Yeah.
that would be interesting, because it is
Yeah.
interesting. But if we understand the consequences for that person, we feel responsible for exposing it sometimes. And that's not fair. It's not. That's Scientology's fault, but it's real.
Yeah. But we know there's repercussions for any and everything that we share.
Yeah,
So that's
there
why
really is.
certain things are just gonna never, for me personally, and for like, we all have our own things that we will and won't share about, and that's just part of it, because we know it'll be weaponized against us, like, weaponizing our empathy and our compassion on our friends and our love for others against us. Like, it's been happening our whole lives to an extent, right?
Yeah.
But this is on a much wider scale, because when you do speak out, you are harassed. You are, like, targeted hard. And we haven't even been on YouTube for 6 months. And I swear, Vanessa, does it feel like 6 months or does it feel like 6 years? Because it's been so much.
60 years I've been
6
on YouTube.
billion years. Like, for this lifetime and 6 billion more.
Billion years.
It does feel like a lot longer.
Of life things that we've gone through has been really, really high since we started YouTube, and not in a bad way, like in a really cool way. But I made a concerted effort to not speak publicly for a long time on purpose, right?
Right.
So
and you saw others speaking and what happened to them, right? So you got to see the behind the scenes of that for a while.
And it's hard. It's
It
hard.
is.
It's not like Scientology just goes, "Oh, they seem nice. We won't do a program on them." No, no, no. They seem extra nice. We'll do an extra program on
We'll do a
them.
few. We'll do a few.
Uh,
We'll try to infiltrate this way and that way and this
oh, it's
way.
always massive. I was on Wikipedia. If anybody has never
Mm.
read the definition of black propaganda, please pull up
Pull it
Wikipedia.
up.
Please, 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 because the Church of Scientology gets a special shout out for using
For
it
that.
along with the German government. So,
Mm.
if anybody would like to know what we studied before we came out that happens to people, and then now we are receiving it, hey, maybe you might see things a little different sometimes.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And if you don't see it, that's probably better for you.
probably, honestly,
It's probably better because it's a wild world. It
it's
is
too much for anybody to have to do, like,
when
mentally
real life
process
is
all
like
the
Twilight
time.
Zone. Yeah, and then you're like, sometimes we're like, hey, we just can't talk, and I'll be like, you're alive, good, okay, love you, have a good night. You know,
Yeah.
like, because sometimes that's all we can do.
Yeah.
Because it's a lot. I love that
Yeah.
people are loving the kitties. I like black kitties too. She's a little torty too. She's got a little orange in her, so she's a little torty, and she's got the sass to match it.
Oh, we got a super chat.
Thanks,
Thank
Cassie. You're so
you. That's
sweet.
so sweet.
We love you.
Yeah, you
And
guys,
you're
we
always
need some
showing
help.
up.
We need super chats. We need you guys to hit the like button. We need you to subscribe, get reminded when we go live, because Ian and I are trying to do it when we have the chance to get together and talk and
Mhm.
catch up. And we want to be able to afford all of these services that we
Yeah.
need, StreamYard and all of
That's
these
another
things. So,
reason so many people don't do it, because it
yeah,
costs money to do it.
totally.
It
And
does.
we did have a fairy godmother who gifted us a StreamYard membership
Yeah.
early.
It's
But there
over
are,
$200, guys.
yeah, it's expensive.
For
No, all
just
of
this
these
one
things are
thing.
expensive.
For
The
just this one
Canva,
thing.
the Canva's $30 a month. Like I'm, we're doing all of this because we care. Honestly, we really care, and we want people to hopefully hear about this from the mouths of children who were born and raised in Scientology and who have
Yeah.
lost their families because of it. That's what we're doing here. So anybody
Because
who
there's
wants
so
to,
many people still trapped in it that play the game, that
Yeah.
play the game, pretend that you're okay with it or that you like it or
yeah,
that you're a Scientologist or that you at least don't have an issue with it. And that's okay too. We understand the complexity and the nuance of this world. But we definitely have had a life full of strange stuff that we have learned as adults is just not okay. It's not good. It's not healthy. It's not beneficial. And if not other people don't learn, that's okay. But we are learning. And for those that want to learn, we're gonna hopefully give a tidbit here or there. We're gonna be a drop in a freaking massive, lake, pond, ocean of others that have shared before us and after us. And I think that's really amazing just to help encourage
Yeah.
people. And I tell people that all the time. If you're just like not sure what you want to do, if you want us to talk, we talk to people off camera all the time. All the time. And that is totally, totally okay too. I realize some of us might not have money or means to do therapy, or they might still be scared to. And so that's okay too.
yeah.
Yep.
And I was telling E, like, that's always been my thing. That was how we ended up. I've tried to have really better boundaries because I have worked myself to exhaustion previously
Mhm.
from doing things to burnout, right?
Yeah.
Where I
Yeah.
wasn't taking care of myself. So
Mhm.
having my own breakdowns of my body where I just couldn't function anymore. So what I've been trying to highlight to everybody is hopefully we can be supportive, but with boundaries. Like we don't have to just
work ourselves into exhaustion.
Yeah, and I really can't be there to support everybody because
You have to
I
support
have
yourself.
a schedule.
Yeah.
So I have to be able to say, when I'm saying something like, I don't usually say things like, just email me or just call me. I don't say that. And you know that because remember early on with Liz.
Mhm. Yeah, I was talking to her. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Because I was talking to her for a while, and then you jumped right in when it was time to go to Gold, and you were closer. I'm not even in the same state, and I just didn't have an extra $1,000 to fly there.
And
But
it was on
so
purpose
close.
because I had asked you if I said, I kind of have to be honest, I don't really have the time between all of these jobs
Mhm.
and fostering and volunteering. I want to be able to talk to people, but I also can't offer like
Yeah.
too much of
Unlimited. Yeah.
it's just because I know myself, right?
Yeah.
I know
And
that
that's
once
a
I love
common
someone
trait.
or know them, I can't
Yeah.
not help. So I've been trying to do boundaries, and that was why I was like, hey, E, talk to her, like get to know her, and you were keeping me updated. Remember?
Yeah.
You're like, yeah, she seems cool, because we were like, are these people real? Are they not? We were doing our own
Mhm.
investigations, but we always knew Liz seemed different and genuine through
Yeah.
her responses.
Yeah.
So then when
She knew too much.
yeah, and then when she asked you, like, do you think I'm going to LA? Do you think Vanessa will go with me? And you were like, ask her. And then I got that message, and that was the beginning of our friendship. But I had not necessarily thought
Yeah.
that I wanted to be even involved in something until I knew the facts, and you guys had become close. And
Mhm.
it was through this channel, honestly, of just deciding to speak, that she
Yep.
heard our voices and thought, they're like me. Like,
Mhm.
these are my sisters, you know? So
Mhm.
we show up for each other, and we always have. That's how we
Mhm.
got out of there. And so I
Yeah.
decided I was going to show up for her, and it worked out really well. And we've like had this awesome freaking friendship. And we're still trying to get her dad out however
Yeah.
we can. It's not my project. It's her life because she loves her dad.
Yeah.
Like,
And that's a testament to who she is as a person and as a
yeah,
human, you know? You're
man.
still carrying this, unconditional love for a parent who has chosen this life. I mean, at least in the beginning, we don't know if he still is choosing to want to be there, right? Because that's the complexity of this, and that's the gray areas. We don't know because we she hasn't talked to him, you know? But
Yeah.
that's also in what way is that okay? In what way is that okay? Like it's not. It never is.
Yeah.
It's just not.
Well, I think it's beautiful that you can love. Like, that's the concept, I guess, I was thinking about when you said love them from afar,
Yeah.
because we love instead of hate. So you could replace it with hate, and you could say, I hate my father, or you could
Mhm.
say, I hate Scientology, and put it on the place that it deserves, because your dad might not be the person who he was if that
It was never
technology.
yeah, in his
Yeah,
life.
and
Yeah.
maybe he would have been different or whatever. I don't
Yeah.
know who my
We don't
parents would
know.
have been, but I do
Yeah.
know that I don't like what happened to them after they continued on and on and on in this, and they became more and more robotic and
Mhm.
more emotionless
Yeah.
and more
Distant.
dedicated to
Right.
the church instead
Dedicated
of
to the
their
church and
family or
yes.
their own selves.
Yeah. And that's the sad part. And we have a
But
cute
we
little
can love
comment.
them from afar, right? We can
Thanks, 3Z
just
new
send.
project. And well
That's
wishes.
so sweet.
Thank you,
You're
3Z
both
new
awesome. You
project.
do so much for so many, no matter how many legs they have.
I like the two-legged, the four-legged, and even the three-legged.
Yeah.
We like them all. We're not really picky on that.
Mm-hmm.
And look at this. Hey, Cassie. Oh, you're so sweet. Here's a little more to help. Hopefully to inspire others to give if they can. We so appreciate you guys for showing up. This is such a strange world for us to be in. And we've become normalized to it, but it's even more complex when we decide to speak out and be public and know that we're helping people, but it's also comes at such a cost to us. And so we appreciate you guys showing up. It's a wild
Yeah.
world. I mean, V, how many times have we said like, "Oh my gosh, is this going to be like a Lifetime movie in the next 10 or 20 years?" Because this stuff is so wild. Like it is so wild. It's
Yeah.
just like one thing after another.
I think it's just nice to hear that you're not alone. So if we can come on here and talk about these experiences, maybe people need support, and maybe they're not even writing. Maybe they are
Yeah,
like me, where they thought
don't
that
drop the body.
Scientology would actually be already monitoring them. So maybe
Mhm.
they're not even writing it. And maybe they're the ones sitting there all by themselves really struggling. That's who our channel is for. Put on our voices and like don't feel alone.
Yeah,
Like
I know. Yeah,
you're not alone. It's
it
such a
is
unique, you can't just walk out and go to a Scientology survivors meeting.
not
There's an
yet.
AA meeting you could go to, but there's not a cult survivor thing that's accessible and easy. It's really hard.
Yeah, it is hard. It's complex. It's hard, and You know, there's people out there though that are really amazing. I will say I've not encountered any other person on SPTV or that's spoken out that has not responded or been so kind when they didn't need to, and they were. So to
That's
all of you
nice.
that are out there that show up,
Yeah.
even and especially when it's like unsolicited, like some people that you might not even know, they go out of their way to be like, "That's not okay. That's not cool." Like when we're being
Mhm.
harassed, there's just been so many cool people, and it shows me the humanity of it all. Like just people are basically usually good, and do have good intentions, but also they have the actions and the behavior to back that up. And that's always really important for us to see because we're not used to that. A lot of people that grew up in Scientology had relationships that were very, I don't know, superficial, shallow, because I mean, if you did anything bad per Scientology, you'd be written up, right? So how close of a relationship with a partner, like romantically, or a friend, or parents, or
Yeah.
siblings? How close can you really be if you're having doubts? And
You
that
can't.
it's that way in so many high control groups, religions, places, abusive relationships. It's very much that way. It's set up to not have you be close with people who would stand up for you for
You
that
always have
reason.
your own back.
Yep. And so I will say that in that respect, it's really shown me at an early age who I am and what I do and don't stand for. And I have been very unapologetic about that. And I'm sure I was not the most fun kid to raise because of that. Because I'm just like not easy in
They
that
reaped
sense.
what they sowed.
They really did, and they didn't think that they were going to get this.
Maybe they should have
This,
thought through. That's how I feel about my
I,
parents.
I
You
mean,
know?
it's like, yeah, I don't think they thought this was going to backfire in the way that it did.
No,
And
they didn't. I do not. I
I don't
believe
think.
that they do not think that this was the way our lives would turn out, and that's the
No.
unfortunate part.
Yeah, and so for them, they're just like, what did we do wrong? We're just such
Yeah.
dedicated people, and we're dedicated too, but we're dedicated to helping people heal and to being honest and open and to being authentic and to not have to candy coat it, because life is never going to be great all the time for anybody, Scientology or not. Life can be freaking hard, and we know that. And we know that in more ways than we'll probably ever share on screen. And we've lost people that we've loved dearly. And that's always weighed heavy on our hearts because they didn't get the chance to speak. Whether they wanted to or not, they didn't even get the chance to have that as an option. You know what I mean? Because they were, dealt a hand that was really crappy, and maybe decided that they didn't want to be around anymore, or they were just got sick and couldn't be around. It's obviously very different for each person, but it's very complex and very near and dear to our hearts. And so please don't drop the body, guys. Like we say,
We have merch on our store. Alicia showed the candle. Please go buy one. It says "Don't drop the body." V&E, Degraded Daughters. We
super cute.
have a
I
merch
just
store
got
up.
this. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll try
It's
to
so
put
cute.
I'll put the link in here while we're
It's
talking.
super cute.
It's really. I'm happy that we're able to.
Yeah, boundaries or bust. I love that. I love that. Boundaries or bust. That's a good hashtag.
That's a good one. Yeah.
That's really good. That's good. Yeah, but yeah, we know it's a very complex world, so we understand that a lot of times people might only be listening or watching and not commenting because we were those people too. So we get it. It's okay. And if it helps you, then we're so happy. That's literally what we're here for, is just to let others know your experiences that might seem so out of this world. They probably did happen, because I mean, how many times, Vanessa, have we been talking and I'm like, hey, does this seem right? Like, did this ever happen with you? Or you'd be like, did you know about blah, blah, blah? And I'd be like, yeah, actually I did. So it's very good to have the checks and balances that we can hear other people that went through and lived similar experiences. Although I will say everybody's experience is going to be slightly different, because it depends on, if you're born in, what age that, like where your parents were and what position they have and what they really wanted to implement within Scientology. Like for you, it was a lot of Dianetics, right? With that being like big on with your parents with the Dianetics.
Well, child Dianetics is the basis of how they raised us. It's the how-to booklet. That's all.
And like your mom was really big on that, right? Like setting
all
it.
Parents
and really
were in the 80s and 90s. Like it was like the only manual for how to raise a Scientology child. So
happy, healthy.
Yeah, I mean it's it's really, really wild. We should probably do an episode on it because it's
Yeah, it's a
absolutely
lot.
incorrect based on research and how we would want to support children. It's like you kind of do the opposite on that book.
Yeah.
So I think those are lifelong things that,
Yeah. And I think that's why so many of us understand that. And even if we don't have the right technical words to describe why it's wrong, we know it didn't feel good. We know it felt weird. Um, or we just didn't like it. And if you're like if you're a little out of ethics kid like me, you rejected it really hard. And you were
Yeah.
rebellion against it and talking wild shit because we were allowed to be ourselves. My parents just didn't know how to deal with that because that was not in conjunction with them being good Scientologists. So that really didn't age well. I mean, it never did. It never did. But, all that to say, if you are a parent, it's really hard to subject your kids to what you think is right when it's a personal belief system. And I know that that's going to not always sit well with people, but I choose to not push certain things. I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like do your stuff, like clean your room, eat your food, all the stuff that you have to do. Go to school. There's a weird one for us. Go to school. My kids are like, do I have to go to school today? I'm like, yes, you do. They really think it's wild that like I'm so pro school. And they're like, why do you care if I even go to school? I'm like, oh, you don't even know, child. Like you just don't even know because I had to
That's so
fight to
silly,
be in
huh?
school. It is, but it's so wild because I have to sit there and be like, I had to fight to go to school. You have no idea. Like
I
this
love
is
that
such
you
a
fought to
thing.
go to school, though. I
Isn't that
just
weird?
love that
It's so
about
weird.
you.
It's like, of course you want to. I wanted to anyway. I shouldn't say everybody, but I saw so many kids that didn't go to school. I saw so many kids that were 13, 14, 15, 16, and they were working for the church in whatever capacity. And the lucky ones were like at, Scientology schools like Delphi. I mean, if you got to be in school and that was your hat in life was to
Yeah.
be a student or whatever as a kid, those are just the lucky ones. A lot of people didn't get that.
Even I went to those schools and I was still an adult by 15, 16. I had taken a loan at Hubbard College and started working full time.
Wild. Isn't it so wild?
It is the way it is because that's how it is with all of us. So it is wild, and I think that we're so used to it.
Yeah, we are.
Like,
We're
oh wait,
desensitized
I've been
to
an
it.
adult for so long, so sometimes people don't get those lovely experiences that maybe they would have gotten going to college. Like I thought, our mutual friends from our area who were all going off, and they were more traditional women, but young women, and they were going off into college and they were all traveling, and this is like what they do now. They like it was we were at that point in life where they were going off to college and I was staying back and working and just thinking, well, this is my life and this is theirs. This is the choice that my parents made. This is the choice that their parents made. And I really thought that would be never happen for us. Like it's just something that it's just not in our cards. And I didn't know how I would ever get educated because I knew that I couldn't. There were certain things that embarrassed me. Like I was wanting to be able to go to a party and have a really deep conversation about current topics, and we weren't allowed to watch the news.
I know.
Zen Theta.
It's Invariant Theta.
Yeah.
Isn't that so wild? It's so weird because we grew up in this and it's like, why? Like why? Why is this productive and it's not? But if you ask like people that are still in, they're so much smarter than the outside world. So it just seems weird to them, but they're so far ahead that it's not weird,
Yeah.
School is not that important. Just study Hubbard and he'll tell you everything you need to know about the whole world. And it's like, no, he won't. He won't. He can't.
He'll tell you his version of it.
Yeah.
It's going to be real helpful for you in 2023.
I was like, I'd rather not. I'd rather not have those kind of views. Yeah. And what's funny is that even though a lot of our parents or families, whoever like really bought into this, I do like the fact that at least some of them saw through some of this shit. And I'll give you an example. My mom, who's deceased now, had told me that another Scientologist had a family member that was gay. And it's a family member that wasn't a Scientologist, but they didn't know what to do because they're like, am I allowed to go to like their wedding? I think it was either a wedding or a bridal shower or something, but it's for a gay couple. And they're like, what are we supposed to do? And my mom said, you love them anyway.
That was your mom's humanity coming through.
Yeah. So sometimes they get it right.
And sometimes they get in trouble for getting it right. That's actually the saddest part.
I was going to say, and I think that the only reason that didn't really ever get her in trouble because she was not very active at that time, right? Because she was kind of deprogrammed, and I was kind of helping her behind the scenes. But
this is really
wild.
Deep and beautiful.
Yeah.
I tried to be the parent I thought ours were.
Yeah.
That's hard.
Absolutely.
You know, that's so hard.
Yeah.
We did. I mean, some of us thought that was a good way to do things. We thought our parents were smart.
Yeah. I mean, they think that they are too. They still don't understand why we're not in their boat of like saving the planet. And
they do not understand it.
Yeah.
I'm getting messages from people who I really care about who are not understanding why we're doing this.
I know.
Yeah.
So, but we're here
challenging.
Because
the way
we've
that
lived
it is,
the challenges.
We can't, like you said, I said we can't explain everything to everybody. What are we supposed to do? Just kind of navigate our own lives. So that would always be happy, right?
That would be all that we do all day, and we work and we have all kinds of stuff, and it's just.
My father teaches at Delphi and has been indoctrinating children into Scientology for over 35 years.
Oh, I'm sorry. My mom was a teacher at Delphi for a couple years too.
Yeah, I think that you having a life where you are living for your children and being that is doing all the things that is the opposite of what your father is doing right now.
Yeah.
So
that's all we can do is
we
do
appreciate
our part.
Everybody who can hold themselves together enough to be good to other people, kind to other people after this, caring, forgiving, patient, all of these things that maybe weren't even important to us.
Yeah.
Just needed to get it done. Get the VFP.
Get it done.
Get the stats up.
You better be having your stats up. You better be an in ethics young child, not an out ethics little babe like me.
Yeah, exactly.
It was always more fun though. Although I will say the kids that were good and the people that were good probably really, really liked the praise that they got because that's how they got love, respect, and praise. And I will say when you were good, boy, you are way on top on cloud 9. And so for that makes me sad because it's
addicting praise.
It is, and it's for
a child you
the
need
wrong
a lot
reasons.
Of praise. But as a child, you need praise. So that's part of parenting is praise and supporting and stuff. So the only ways we got that were from being good Scientologists and being good theta potatoes.
Yeah, which is so harmful if you think about it. And it's a theta potato. Look at my little cutie.
You have a theta potato. Marilyn made it.
Yeah. I love Marilyn.
So sweet.
I love me some Marilyn. So cute.
Oh my God. That is such a good point, Blowgel, because we were love bombed with self-righteousness while being made into flying monkeys. Ain't that the truth?
Yeah.
Good call.
That's very, very true.
Yeah, that's why it just is hard and challenging because they use so many techniques. And then people try to be loving or authentic with us. And we're like,
is
wait,
this real?
What do you want from me?
I still say this to my husband. What do you want from me? What is it? What is it that you want? And he's like, really? Like, I'm just asking.
I'm not being paranoid. What do you want from me? Are you Osa?
What is it? Oh my gosh, I should start pulling that with him.
You should. It's pretty funny.
I was gonna say that would be a fun one because I always do other random crap because we're just jokers and degraders, guys.
We're just jokers and degraders. Not just that, but like straight up Paulette Cooper had a boyfriend for years who was reporting to OSA. Like these are things that just happen in our lives and we try to be nice and trusting. And then we find out everything we own is in the garbage and OSA owns it all. And then we're, on the street homeless.
Just a normal day, guys.
That's what we're dealing with over here. So maybe
there's a little bit of nuance here, Yeah. It's
if you
just,
can.
it's a weird, wild world. And I just think, if anybody ever doubted that this stuff happens,
Yeah.
I promise you, don't doubt. Do not doubt. Like, we've talked about this in depth, Vanessa, but like, all we can do is laugh. And sometimes we have to step away from it because it's too much. It's like wild, but it is the world in which it's, and this is why people don't speak out. This is why there's so many people that have incredible um, stories and have had incredible lives, but they don't want to speak out because they're like, oh, we're too connected, or we know this, or we know that, and I don't want to expose myself and ruin the rest of my life or affect it, like have it be negatively impacted.
And they
And
don't think
that's
it
scary.
matters too. I mean,
Yeah.
truly, people just don't understand the gravity of what like it means to actually speak. Because I think that when you do speak and then you don't get support that you want, or you think it might be life changing, or this is, people might have had these horrible things happen to them and then share that story and then not gotten support and be like, well, I'm not going to do that again.
Yeah.
Like there's no organization to catch every single person who shares trauma. It's hard to get it out too. And then when you do, you're like, oh, does anyone care? What do we,
What is
and
this
then they
for?
do, right? But it's also like, what do we do about it? How do
Yeah.
we
Yeah, sometimes it's
feel
hard to say
better?
that. Right, because sometimes we can't change. I mean, we can't change what's happened in general. But I think it's hard because sometimes even if we tell people that do show up, they're like, "What do you want us to do?" And we're like, "Nothing." Because we're just in this, like, it's just a bad position. We
Yeah.
can't do anything about some stuff that happens or that
And at that
already
point, it's too
happened.
far. Yeah, it's too far. It's almost
Mhm.
like people could have said that all along the way. Or if we could have vocalized what we needed, maybe that would have helped too. But then when you get to that point, I feel so disassociated and shut down. Like it's just too much to explain and I don't want to talk anymore.
Yeah. It
You
is a
know?
lot of work. It's a few full-time jobs. It's not just one. It's a few.
Yeah.
But as we keep learning and growing and like accepting and understanding some of the stuff that happened, it helps us to process that. So that's always helpful to do, but it also takes a lot of vulnerability to be brave enough and to be courageous enough and to be in a stable enough place in your life to do that. Because there's tons of people that we know that probably don't really believe, but are going to absolutely be quiet about it and
Yeah.
are going to pretend because it's easier for their life.
Totally.
You
This is
know?
really nice comment, Sandy. We aren't doubting you what you are saying. We are seeing it in real time right before our eyes. So thank you for reminding us.
Right.
We've been gaslit
There's a
a
lot.
lot.
There's
Like
a
a
lot.
lot of real
This
gaslighting.
is a good one. It's hard enough to trust people without OSIT.
Thank
Oof,
you.
it is hard. I know
It's
it's hard.
really,
It's
really
real hard out
messed
here.
up. Yeah, it's really a lot.
But you know what's our superpower is?
What?
Love. We're showing up with compassion and kindness and love. OSIT could never do that. You can never sit with us in that sense ever.
We're putting hate in our heart instead of love, and that's actually way harder, in my opinion, to do. I mean, putting love in our hearts instead of hate. Sorry.
Mhm.
It's the reverse. But most people will put hate in their hearts and just put it at that anger or being, it's just easier to be like, I hate this. And it's way harder to be like, I love you. Maybe I don't understand. Maybe
Right.
there's
Maybe I can't
something here.
accept.
Yeah,
Mhm.
or like maybe our lives are just lined up differently. We're just
Yeah.
not going to be able to be
Our
parallel.
values are very different as people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So maybe we just, instead of choosing to think about it with anger, we just choose to think about it with, I really love that person. And
Yeah.
sad that we can't have parallel paths right now.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Sometimes we have to love people from afar. And that's part
Mhm.
of being an adult. And I've had to learn to do that with people. And even outside of Scientology, just, if we have people that are in bad relationships and we're not cool with it, or, when they don't know how to love themselves and they don't know their self-worth, it's hard to see someone that you love not know how important and how special they are, and to watch them struggle with that, and to give advice and to try to help and to be there.
Yeah.
But they have to do it themselves. And that is very, 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 very hard. Because you
Yeah.
you can only bear witness to so much, because sometimes it's painful, and most of the times it's painful for us to watch. because we know that they can do better. They're smart. They are, capable of so many things. And that I saw a lot with just friends in not healthy relationships, to be honest. It's very hard. So I applaud the people that actually stay in those people's lives and they can, be there because they do need that too. They
Yeah.
absolutely need those people.
And maybe they and we are not the easiest sometimes and
Mhm,
challenging and all of that. Like
mhm.
commitment. I think that's where we've been screwed with,
Yeah,
is that we've been committed to a lot of people and we've committed to causes that have turned out poorly, and
yeah,
to just but most people when they commit, they're like not extremely disappointed like with
yeah.
their whole thing. But maybe they do. Maybe everybody has these things and we're all working through it at different layers.
Yeah. Everyone, if you're on your journey of healing and, letting go of whatever it is, whether it's Scientology or some other high control religion or group or place or entity, whatever it is,
Yeah.
we're all going to be at different places in our journey. And it's not like you don't just heal and then you're like, oh, I'm healed. It's an ongoing lifelong journey. In my opinion, I don't think you're ever just like, oh my gosh, I'm so good. We can become really healthy and stable, and that's always a good goal to have. And
Trauma sticks with you
yeah,
sometimes. There's really
yeah,
cool things you can do, like EMDR or other trauma informed types of things. But trauma is trauma. And when you have a traumatic event happen, you're experiencing PTSD or sometimes CPTSD from a lifelong of having to think everything
mhm.
through, then I mean,
Yeah,
yeah,
you learn to
coping.
live
You
with it,
learn
right?
coping skills that are
Yeah,
healthy, that don't push people away from you, that
yeah,
don't hurt you more, right?
yeah. It's such a whole thing that you have to learn
And trauma
and
passes on
accept.
through genetics. I mean, straight
Yeah,
up. It's it's that's the real thing. So what if people are coming through with already traumas they might not even understand in their body, right? And
mhm.
then we're adding more and more, and the body's always keeping score of all
The
of our
body
traumas.
is. Yes, yes. That was a
So,
really good book, by the way. If you guys want to read a good book,
yeah,
that's a
it
really
is a
good
good
book.
one.
That was one that I read, and that's a
Yeah.
really good one. The body
The
holds
body
the
keeps
score.
the score, it's
There you
called.
go. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
the
a good
body
one.
keeps the score.
That was one
Um,
I appreciated. I liked, and it's nice to hear for us. I think too, to know like, okay, good, it's good. And I just finished the Barefaced Messiah. I
oh,
finally finished it.
nice. From
Yes,
Russell Miller.
yes, it was so good, so good.
Yeah.
Because it's on Audible finally. I say finally. I think it was like 2021. It said it came out on Audible,
Okay.
so it's
Sometimes
out there.
I had read it on hard copy, and
Mhm.
I love Audible, but then sometimes the voice is like, ugh, I can't take it. Like usually I really like it, but
Yeah, and it wasn't him reading it, by the way, because
oh
sometimes it is him.
yeah,
It's not him. It's some other person. And then I just started Mike Render's book on Audible because it was like I'd already had it waiting, so I
yeah.
finally finished one. Because sometimes I try to like jump in. I'm like, no, I shouldn't do that because it's too much. And my brain's like, it's too much, too much. So I just started the Mike Render book, and I'm excited because I think it's going to be good. I go through
Good.
phases of reading and listening, and then I have to like step back and just like, okay, you know, and dive in and then take a step back and breathe and live your regular everyday life because there's so much going on in everything in the
Yeah.
world in our lives in the Scientology world. It's
There's
like,
so much. And it's like a lot to take on too if you're reading a book. I
yeah,
mean, just reading the book can be a traumatic experience. Like, because you're forced to remember a lot of things. You're just
right,
forced
it,
to
it
remember a lot
brings
of experiences.
it brings that up to the surface and then you're like,
Yeah.
okay, now I have to digest that and be okay with
Yeah.
that. So yeah, it's a lot. Oh, this is sweet. By the way, your sharing is also healing for many of us. So we'll heal together. Yeah, that's honestly when I first started talking. I just did it on my own personal social media, and that's literally what I titled it was just healing out loud. And
Yes.
I thought
I
people are not
loved
gonna.
that.
I thought people probably will think I'm nuts because if you grew up with me and you had no clue about this, you'd be like, "What the hell?"
Yeah.
Yes,
But I
it
saw you
all
posting
existed.
those and
Mhm.
they were so heartfelt and I felt that there was so much to it. And I felt like your message needed to get out broader because there's Facebook, but then there's like,
Yeah.
Facebook is people who we know
Hmm.
usually, or who have busy lives or whatever, who are, we're just updating, right? So then you have these huge things happening. And I've watched this happen to myself and to a lot of people through social media, almost trying to like express ourselves, but this platform is not right. It's just like it
It
wasn't
does.
for me. It
It's
was,
limiting to
yeah,
to
there's
some extent.
nowhere to put it. Like I could put this whole story out and then maybe 3 people see it. And it's kind of ineffective for what we're doing.
Yeah.
And this was to me the idea of like, holy moly, let's get this Degraded Daughters going. Let's do this together and heal out loud if we can, so that we like
Mhm.
to me, it's beautiful that now there's so many people and there's a record of
Yeah.
that story that you shared about your mom and about the story I talk about my dad. It's there forever. It's there now, and they can find it. And maybe we don't know what happens in life. Maybe we get hit by a car tomorrow. We
Right.
said our piece,
We
you
did.
know,
We have.
and
And
they
we
know
will.
how we feel, and we came from love.
Yeah. Yeah. And it
I
makes
know
sense.
you have to go do something, so I want to show the world this lovely dog named Elvis Presley, the Chihuahua. And he's my foster, and I have been doing because I'm trying to do a schedule where I'm trying to go and do a live almost every day. And so I did a separate channel called The Gray Zone, and that's just mine. This one is for Alicia and I, and we're going to be meeting up. We're going to be talking and chatting and doing everything in coordination. You guys will see us. We're not going anywhere. This is our fun cult classic, if you will, for Vanessa and Alicia. And we love all of that. Oh, I'm gonna re-put the merch thing in the comments one more time. If anybody wants to get merch, we could totally appreciate your support. We want to see everybody in Degraded Daughters attire. But yeah, so over on my other channel, I'm still working on streaming hours, and so I've been putting Elvis on so that it could be kind of like just a little part-time job if I want to hop on and do a live, which is a really effective way to process our trauma here. And we can't always have a therapist online all the time, and we also don't need a therapist online all the time, but we do need to vent, because a lot of this stuff has been brewing in our souls. And it actually feels really, really good to discuss it and have y'all here supporting us. So that's why we're doing all the things we're doing. So I want to share some Elvis. You want to show your little cute kitty before we say goodbye?
Sure. She's sleeping.
Come here, baby.
She's
she's
fine.
sleeping. You don't.
Mhm.
Here, Elvis is ready. I'll keep my face away though, because he will take the ball. Love you, baby. Hold on. No biting. I just put him on my lap. He's fine.
No biting. Not today.
Yeah, you like how I'm all calm now?
Not today.
Like, early on, he scares people. I'm not kidding. They'll back up, because he bites. He does not let go. He holds on like you're going to feel the pain. Like, he looks in your eye and wants to give you pain. So, like, you don't come back and do that again. It's pretty intimidating.
He's an intense little guy. He's a whole lot packed into a small little body. He's a big Satan in a small body.
Oh my God, he's a big being. He's a very big being.
He really, really is. If you look at it, he commands respect, guys.
He does. And Elvis is basically streaming every night, just him being cuddly and cute. And a lot of people have been saying, like, I actually really like sleeping with Elvis. Thank you for putting this on. It's like I wake up and I see your dogs. I've been missing my dogs. So for me, that's like what we are all about. We're about emotional support. And so having him right there, that's pretty cool. I think I would watch that too.
He's his own superstar.
And I saw somebody in there say you should get a kitty cam, Alicia.
I know. I don't know if it would work where their cage is, but it would be really cool. It would be really cool because they're super cute.
Yeah,
so
just
cute.
do a little setup. And
I feel like they would knock it down and like maul it, because they are usually out in my bathroom during the day when I go to work. We've been gradually upping where they can come. So now they can be out in the house, but only when I'm home, because they're still too little.
Yeah.
So they get to have their playtime in our bathroom, because I can close that off and I can sanitize it really easily. So that's always super important, because half the time that you're taking care of animals, it's meds and like cleaning up their stuff, making sure that, if they're sick and shedding some gross little whatever, worms or whatever, we're constantly cleaning.
Oh, so. Of course. I was
The
thinking
life.
because I was able to set it up in a way that Lexi finally couldn't knock it over,
Oh, good.
but that doesn't always work.
Yeah, because cats can climb, and these guys are kind of these legs are little
True.
wildlings, you know.
True. I have a pop-up playpen that I bring
Oh,
around for
nice.
when I have puppies, but it's
Mhm.
foldable. Like it's really foldable, like those
Yeah, the
windshield wiper
collapsible.
things.
Mhm.
Yeah, so maybe you could make like a stand with a camera over it, and then people could just watch it or
Watch
something
them
like that.
play.
That'd be so cute.
Yeah, and they're so cute, and I love that they're finally coming around to me, like people, because I was over here giving them meds for like 2 weeks, and they're like, "Oh, no more, lady, please, please, no."
Aw, you're
I mean,
so sweet.
don't get me wrong, they'll probably have new meds coming soon, but right
Of
now
course.
they're in the in between, and then we'll recheck them.
Well, it's nice of you to do
Yeah.
that and like literally share your time to just mother things.
That's what we do.
Because-
We're showing up, aren't we? We're showing up, and we're loving these animals with our unconditional love and meds that they love us for. Being very sarcastic. They don't love us for that at all. So, yeah. So, thanks for hanging with us, guys, and our little foster babies this morning. We got to see a cute kitties. Got to see a cute Elvis.
Very cute.
So cute.
He didn't get me.
You
I was
should- you
just
should-
telling him so that he gets it.
We should let Osa know. Do you really want to mess with this? Elvis is not impressed, Osa.
Straight up, Liz tried to take him to Gold. She was like, I'm not taking the Shepherd. We're taking the Bitey one. And that was like, I understand. He's very intimidating and he will do damage.
It's so fun. I love it.
Thank you guys for being here with us. Please hit like, please hit subscribe. When you come back or later on, please try to leave a comment. That really helps in the algorithms and stuff.
It's true. It's true.
Yeah.
Thanks for hanging with us. And guys, don't forget, don't drop the body.
Yes. We have our
Don't drop
adorable
it.
candles. Let's get it and light them together.
Yeah. I know. I don't even want to light this one. I just want to have it for decoration.
I know. It's
I
so
just, I
cute.
don't.
I
Yeah.
want to get one too. I'm literally at the point where I'm like, I can't buy my own merch. That's silly, but we
Mhm.
have to.
Yeah. Yeah. This is what a
We
time to
gotta
be an
buy our
SP.
merch. It's quite the time, huh?
You gotta rock it out. Right. Yeah. Well, guys, thanks for hanging with us.
Thanks for
It
hanging
was
with us.
so fun to chat and catch up, V. And Elvis is the cutest, obviously. I saw little Lexi make her way a little while ago with her little cute, fluffy self.
Yeah.
So thanks for hanging with us and our little fosters and our two-legged, four-legged, and three-leggeds.
Mm-hmm.
It's all the legs, guys.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good.
You girls watch out for those DBs.
We are the DBs, mister.